right, then welcome back to another episode of the Eagerman's podcast. Today's episode features two very special guests. Okay, the first one is Dr. Raj Nath. He is an academic, lecturer, and entrepreneur. Raj has earned a doctorate in mechanical engineering, published academic research, and he is now applying that same scientific mindset to the world of entrepreneurship by building his own mobile phone app in the nutrition and fitness space. Throughout this conversation, we'll explore Raj's journey from academia to entrepreneurship, his personal weight loss transformation, talking about nutrition and healthy eating, the science behind food, and how AI is changing education in business, and also the mindset it takes to build something meaningful. Our second guest is the Eagerman's male lifestyle optimization supplement designed for ambitious men, balancing performance, pressure, and progress. I have created this supplement for men like you and me who strive to be a little better every single day, whether that's in the gym, at work, in the office, or just everyday life. If you would like to support the podcast and become part of the Eagerman's founding community, head over to theeagermans.com, sign up to the pop-up you get, and grab yourself a bottle. Now that's enough of me. Raj, welcome to the Eagerman's podcast. It's great to have you here.
Well, first of all, thank you. It's a genuine pleasure to be here, and an exceptional position looking over London. I do indeed have a doctorate in engineering. One of my current projects is a long-standing project I had since the age of 16, and that pushed me into engineering, which was an aerospace wing project where the idea was to reduce global kerosene, jet fuel consumption, by about 6 or 7% during takeoff and landing. I then went to university, obviously, to study engineering. I went to King's, which is part of the Federal University of London, a very prestigious university. Where my university discovered DNA and have about 14 Nobel Prize laureates. In my initial sort of academic journey, I come from a very great legacy of academics. So my father was conferred the Doctorate of Science, the DSc, which has only been done 100 times in the history of the University of London by Princess Anne, who is now still currently the Chancellor of the University of London. So I had a lot to live up to. Now, whether I've lived up to it, God only knows, but I think I have a long way to go.
You've achieved quite a lot. You've got a doctorate, you know.
But that in of itself is not enough. I mean, once you get to sort of like your 30s or 40s, and certainly my age, you want to have certain milestones. It can't just be about the papers. Now, of course, we'll come to something that is education policy and the use of AI and certain degrees, which are good, which are bad. Is it worth it? This has been a theme on a previous podcast of yours, an amazing podcast you had when the sun was setting with the two guys. They were talking about, it's not worth the investment. And of course, now education has become a return on investment. You have to invest 30 grand plus your opportunity cost.
Yes.
And is it worth the piece of paper and the knowledge and the structured learning that you get? Now, I always say, if you're an engineer or a doctor and you're a patient or a person that's going to use a bridge, would you rather have an engineer that sat 10,000 exams and been examined to an inch of his life? Or do you have an engineer that's, just passed by ChatGPT?
Yeah.
So, okay, that's my education policy, little controversial thing. Well, I'll behave for the rest of the podcast. But I think exams, hardcore education are still valid. Now, obviously, business courses may not offer so much value because business is trying to teach you the art of business. And I refer to it as art. There's a numerical side, which is accounting and finance, which I'm also published in. I've done econometrics. Are you familiar yourself with econometrics, Nikhil?
Not much.
Right. So you know economics. Economics splits into macro, micro. So the government, the country's relationship to the rest of the world, whether it be trade, monetary flows, foreign exchange policy, growth, big one, etc. Microeconomics, which is the behavior of consumers and players such as companies. But econometrics is the study of numbers. These kind of things, you need to be taught.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to just blag it. You can't.
Of course.
All right.
Why did you choose mechanical engineering out of all the options you had?
Interestingly, I kind of didn't. It chose me. Father was... Have you seen those analyses where you see a car crashing, maybe a picture where you see a car crashing into a wall, but it's a mesh with multicolors where the crumple zone is in red. Or if you see a building swaying and you see high stress means red and blue is a lower stress. So it's going to fracture or collapse at the location of the higher stress. That methodology was created in the 50s by my father and 10 other people, great scientists as well. And I've also done some research. I was in composite materials. Now, these are the space age materials that you see for Kevlar vests, bulletproof vests, aircraft wings. We use composites, Formula One cars, like these very superlative materials that can have a lightweight, but have very, very high strength or properties, material properties. And because he was in that space, he never wanted me to be an engineer.
Right.
Like a classic Indian father, I should reveal that I'm also, like yourself, Indian. I'm Hindu as well. We share a lot and values. Yeah. And of course, being the son of a professor, you are expected to become greater.
Exactly. The very best.
Yes. And you have to eclipse your father. Now, how the hell do you eclipse a man who's, been knighted by Princess Anne? Yeah. It's an impossibility. So I was screwed from the get.
So there was a lot of pressure from you from the very beginning.
Pressure, yes. It's like, become better than me or you're not my son. If you define that as pressure, okay.
So did you live up to his expectations then? Really?
Of course not.
So he wasn't happy with you becoming a mechanical engineer?
No, he hated it. He threw the book at me, literally.
So you must have told him the moment you got your doctorate. You must have given him the news. What was his reaction?
Once I got the doctorate, but his reaction was he picked up the phone. He was in his office with some very important people. And his reaction was, well, that was the minimum you could have done. Bye.
Wow. That was hardcore, huh?
Oh, God, it was hardcore.
Yeah.
I loved him, but it was very hardcore. He wanted me to cure cancer. Okay. Yeah. Now, where do you go with this? I was 18 years old, visiting university and medical school before I decided enough's enough. This is my father's madness. And I was saying, okay, these are the labs. I'm going to do medicine 5 years. Okay, my dad's decision. He must know something. Suddenly, I'm in the lab and I see a big jar. What's inside? A human brain floating in liquid.
My God.
I'm like this. Okay, I'm done with medicine. I'm not interested.
Day one, you just said, no, this is...
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was the open day.
Yeah.
So I go home, tell him this is cooked. I'm not doing it.
I saw a fucking human brain.
Yes, and although it is important, and it's a singular miraculous thing, which we still can't explain scientifically, that is amazing. I just told him, nah. I just said, no, I can't do it. Of course, he was not amused. He didn't speak to me for 6 months, usual stuff.
Yeah.
But
what did you enjoy about being in the academic field?
You get to interact with a lot of research. Right. You learn to hone your research skills. Now, I never did a master's degree. I'm the only student in the history of King's College to graduate directly to a doctorate because I asked them to. Right. I said, look, what's the point of me wasting a year doing a master's degree? If I'm going to do a doctorate thereafter, let me do the doctorate directly. And I'll do the master's courses in parallel. So I'll do 2 degrees. Now they looked at me and said, okay, for you, let's do it. Because I was already publishing. I was already talking to, actually I was here in Canary Wharf at the Hilton. I did my first plenary session, which is the big session where I presented at a conference. So you asked me what was the pleasure of being back in the day. This is in the 90s, a research student. It was like interacting with your peers, getting to know the science, having arguments, because they all pretend to know things and, some of what they were professing was just rubbish, just academic, doesn't hold water, it's not real. And I think it was just researching and just actually moving the scientific edge. And actually I created, because at university, I met the Greeks. They're my best friends, they're still my friends. And actually have a very long-standing relationship with Greece. My godson is Greek. I know very big professors, ministers, diplomats,
To the point where you're actually fluent in Greek.
Yeah.
That must have given you the edges now when interacting with the Greeks.
To interact with Greeks, yes. When you interact with people in their own language and you get the nuances and you understand how their systems work, government systems, which a tourist would, it's incomprehensible to the normal person who's Greek, let alone a tourist. Yeah. You garner respect. They treat you differently and they will then take you seriously. Right. And so I enjoyed pushing the boundary. I enjoyed pushing the boundary, even in Greek, meeting people, working with people, and I generally had fun.
Yeah. I mean, after everything that you have achieved in the academic field, you still feel like there's something still left for you to achieve. Hence why you're now going after building a mobile phone app, right?
True. There is one thing I want to add to the previous, and that is that I actually, through my research, I labeled 3 failure modes in composite materials. When you take composite material and break it, I was modeling this using like a very advanced nonlinear computational models and simulations. These are very hardcore, very computationally intensive. So what this means is that I labeled it mode alpha, beta, gamma, which is the Greek alphabet, ABC or Alpha, Beta, Gamma. And this was actually, I was proud of it. It got published in a NASA textbook, and that was a good feeling, but it took 20 years. And I realized...
accomplished when that happened. Like you've achieved something. I mean,
something, but I'll be honest, I'm always honest. I mean, I only met one other person who's read my research, because I run into people who know of me, of my name, especially if they're in Greeks.
Yeah.
And they know who Kyrios Nath is. Kyrios is the Greek for Monsieur. I only met one other person for actually studying a doctorate in imperial. I said, I'm reading this guy. And I said, yes, you're looking at the guy. That was nice. And this was in a Greek club. I realized that, okay, I've done something, I'm doing something, but it's not making a difference.
Right.
And then I started on the wing. I tried to move that needle, but I had to find exceptional, superlative professors. Now, I'm actually working with an aerodynamicist who's one of the world authorities, and the ex-rector, which means president of the University of Athens, who's a friend of mine. He's also a world authority in what's called CFD, computational fluid dynamics. It gets very elegant.
Yeah.
So we're in the process of now setting up a patent for this.
Right.
So that's fun. But that is, again, the problem with this from an entrepreneurial lens is that you have 3 customers or 5 customers. You've got the 5 aircraft super majors, Boeing, Airbus, Bombardier.
Yeah, but the startup cost for that, something like that, must also be enormous, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's because I'm doing computational analysis and research in that, you're talking about 30, 40 grand.
Oh, wow.
But I went in the world of fintech. You see, every time I do something, a project, and I've done a lot of consultancy, whether it be in ship design, whether it be in monetary policy, learned about things that no other human knows about, reserves ratios, exchange rate policy, things that are so specialized, but actually make the world go round. So when I was doing the fintechs project, we're doing the automation of trading strategies to optimize risk for banks. Most people turn off. Okay. I mean, it's very important. Like, banks, funds that hold people's pensions, to actually not make stupid investments and lose people's money, so the government has to keep bailing them out. So what I realized is that this is computationally heavy. So I actually then had to level up.
Right.
So I'm now in my 40s, and I find myself in Stuttgart, in Germany. And I'm actually at the HLRS, the Hochrechnungszentrum, I can't say it, but it's basically the high performance computing center. It's one of the 3 supercomputing centers. So now we get into the space age, ultra computing environment, and it's beautiful. Now you're sort of talking about multidimensional arrays of 1 million times 1 million times 1 million in 4 or 5 dimensions. And I saw like big, Cray was one of the biggest supercomputers on Earth. It's been eclipsed now, but about 10 years ago, it was always the Cray. Right. Cray was like the architect of supercomputing back in the 60s. So I've seen it like a live, huge supercomputer. It was many racks in an enormous room in Stuttgart. And the major client was Porsche, because Porsche would secretly run their simulations of their new cars that they're testing. So this is all like top level stuff. And it's really, really interesting. And once you get into that, you realize how little you don't know, A, and B, that you really need to level up. So I pushed on after economics, finance, engineering, aerospace engineering, ship design, and a few other things which I barely remember, I then added supercomputing, computing, hardcore programming, and optimization thereof.
Right. So, I mean, you've got this one side of your life which composes of, engineering and computing and highly technical. And then now you're gradually making a shift to the entrepreneurial side of things. How does that feel, and what prompted you to do that? You've now, gone out there. You've now ventured out into the field of entrepreneurship by building a mobile phone app. So I want to understand how did that happen?
Interestingly, you've misconstrued the premise. I mean, your generation would say pivoted.
Right.
All right. I haven't transited so much.
Right.
What has actually happened is that I'm always an engineer. All the stuff that I know and understand is just building layers on my, capacity to solve problems.
Yeah.
So I now become known among my friends sometimes when they're not swearing at me as a problem solver. If the problem is complex, ask Raj. If the problem is simple, do not ask Raj.
Right.
That's kind of the rule.
Mainly life has just been about troubleshooting problems.
Troubleshooting, but highly complex problems.
Yeah,
like intractable problems.
Yeah.
A nice word. So the definition of the problem is always 30% the solution. And people fail to understand the gravity and the complexity and the multi-layer or the multidimensionality of a complex before you even remotely get to the point you want to solve a problem, especially if it's a nuanced or complex problem, like the minefield of nutrition. And I actually, by doing all this is where I was going with this, is that I consider myself okay to good in optimizing things. And solving multidisciplinary, multi-layer, multi-dimensional things, and even non-linear stuff. Because people think, 2 goes to 4, goes to 6, it doesn't work like that. It's highly non-linear. And this is where most people's brains fall apart. So if you want to solve a really complex problem, and most problems in the world are complex by definition, the simple problems have been solved, understanding and definition of the problem that constitutes the actual issue you're facing and mankind is facing, or a sector of mankind is facing, or a country is facing, is actually a very, very important step. And people get that bit wrong. So the solution, which is contingent on the problem, becomes weaker and more not really solving the problem.
Right. Give an example of that.
I'll apply to the nutrition space.
Right. Okay.
Now, recently you'll see people in supermarkets, they're scanning products. Oh, lovely, this oats is nice, or this ice cream is not so good, but that ice cream is better. Now, this is a massive, massive step in the right direction.
Right.
Okay. People are now understanding there's an app that basically you scan it, and scan the barcode.
Yeah, the barcode.
And let's say on Eagerman's, and it'll tell you, okay, it's a 99 out of 100, not the Eagerman's, but let's say biscuits.
Okay.
But there's a bit of too much rapeseed oil, and there's too much fat, there's too much sugar. It'll give you a breakdown, or there's additives which are not so good. And basically, what it will say is that it'll give it a score, and it'll say which additives, and this is amazing, and I was all of this, and I'm using it. I mean, it's called Yuka. All right, yeah. Everyone knows it. It is
the app has allowed people to become more
intelligent, more in product choice.
Yeah, buying food.
Yeah, and this is definitely a step in the right direction. Yuka is a global standard for me. It is a best-in-class, beautiful product, and believe me, I have not been paid any money for this.
Yeah,
okay, I'll be recommending certain brands that I believe in, especially when it comes to pasta. If you look at the nutrition journey of a person walking into a supermarket and thinking, how am I going to feed myself optimally today? Very simple question. How do I eat properly? Without spending the earth, without spending more than 50 minutes in the kitchen? I mean, would you rather spend an hour making food, or if you can eat for the same, get your same macros, would you rather spend 10, 15 minutes?
I mean, I don't think anyone wants to spend an hour in the kitchen making food. Just someone like me, especially the young guys, the Gen Zs, we have no interest in spending an hour in the kitchen just cooking food quick.
A parent with 5 screaming kids, wants to spend even less in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like the takeout, button is there.
And this is why takeout has become so popular.
Because it's a convenient solution to shut the kids up, shut yourself up, because when you're desperate, okay, sit on the couch, do your work, takeout comes in. Now, this automatically introduces a very complex problem that, it doesn't hit your macros, it's very expensive, the quality of ingredients, and the list goes on. So Yuka is a best-in-class app. But it doesn't complete the entire customer journey. I believe it's important to use your brain. I mean, it's use it or lose it. This applies to your brain, applies to your muscle. I think you know that very well. And then I'm seeing that there is a need. Now, you're probably going to ask me, how do you know that there's a need for people to be informed about how to eat? Well, there's my journey and there's what I see. So you're familiar with obesity, you're familiar with being overweight. And obviously, some people like to be a bit round. It's not about being inclusive, not inclusive. This is just being healthy.
Your fitness.
It's about being healthy and also being what you want to be. If you want to be plump and round and big, go for it. That's absolutely fine. But it's good to know if that is going to be sustainable in the long run. Your knees are going to take it when you're 60.
Yeah.
What is the combined effect? It's up to you. Your choice is your choice. Your body is your body. I'm all for that. Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, getting into entrepreneurship and building an app of all things, because I'm seeing an enormous need.
I mean, you roughly went from 70 kgs down to 60 kgs. How long was that ago?
Well, this was during my parents' demise, actually, in the mid-10s, so about 2014. My, very beloved father decided that he's going to have his first stroke. And then he had his second stroke, then the third one. After about 9 years and 60 hospital admissions, and then my mother doing exactly the same thing. Yeah, they went together. Literally, my father took 9 years to go from functional to, departing the planet.
Yeah.
My mother took 13 years. And seeing the pain and suffering and the mistakes and the diabetes and the cholesterol and almost every problem known to man that could have been avoided with a little bit of street smarts, everyday street smarts when it comes to like just being, just living properly.
But wasn't it during that phase when you gained?
Yeah, I gained weight because I said, okay, I was also diagnosed with osteoporosis.
Right.
Okay, and I get it hereditary from my mum.
Right.
One of her gifts. My father gave me this. So they've all given. Yes. So yes, I'll be talking about that to the CEO when I meet him, because it seems that God decides that you will put hair everywhere else in places you really don't need it. And I'll remove it in the place you most need it. So I'm thinking, what was the design?
Oh, have a chat with God when you get there.
I was told by the doctors that, okay, as an osteoporotic person, and my bones were 110 years old. I was already 110.
As per the doctors.
But when you look at the bone density scan and you interpolate, I had 0.6 grams per centimeter cube, which is that of a 100-year-old man.
Oh, wow. So
and
did you feel the weakness in your body?
Yeah. I was 35. I was overweight, not realizing why. I was diagnosed with osteoporosis, which I told would never improve. It was a mistake, because it can improve if you just literally exercise. Like literally just start jumping up and down.
Yeah.
But nobody told me you could redensify. The doctor said it will not improve. Maximum case, it will stay the same. So I thought, okay, I'm screwed. My parents are going down, I'm going down, and I've got about 15 years before I'm in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not good. There must be a better way. Then I think I hit my peak about 6-7 years ago. I was, a bit depressed, thinking, okay, what am I going to do with my life? I didn't have this sort of new startup in my head at all. I didn't understand what even nutrition was. I'm educated in a lot of things, and I've really studied and read books and really tried to understand the world, but nutrition was never a thing. It was never part of our culture. We just eat. Go to the supermarket, this looks nice, you eat it. You'll eat. You don't know which is the best oil. You don't know which is the best carb. As an Indian, there was always rice in my house. Rice and dal, which is lentils. Just eat it.
So when did you realize I'm going down a slippery slope here with my health? I'm putting on weight. I'm not feeling happy. I'm not in the best shape.
I think around 2016, 17, 18, the late teens, I realized that I'm actually going down. I was seeing a physiotherapist. There was a French guy, a marathon runner. And it was at that point, I just looked at myself in the mirror and I hated myself. I was out to about here. And although I'm not a tall guy, as you know, but I was feeling the weight and I was looking at myself in the mirror. I didn't have any much muscle mass. Gym wasn't even a thing in my life. I was never told, or I didn't have friends that were in the gym mindset. A lot of my friends were already having kids and families, and they were in a different mindset.
Yeah.
Okay, I think gym would have been a luxury for them, but it's important that they do take time. I think this is the mistake of my generation. Not so much. You guys are much more dialed in. So I realized,
I'm building a nutrition and fitness and supplement brand, so I have to be dialed in.
Well, you're also flexing it, and you also realize the importance of how you present yourself, but not to other people. It's you with you.
Yeah, 100%.
How do you feel inside your body? What is your greatest tool? Interestingly enough, in 2018, I felt it was a curse. I have this body that I'm weak in because I hadn't trained it in years.
I mean, you had
decades.
10, 12, 15 kgs of fat on you. How did that feel?
I felt it was a prison.
That around.
And I always remind myself, because now I do in the gym, I do weighted pull-ups or squats, and I take a 10 or 15 or 20 kg plate. And I defy anybody. Take a 15 kg plate, hold it, and walk around for 3 minutes, and you realize, what on earth am I doing with this one? If you imagine a car, all right? Car has got like a very, very small engine, but it's a Ferrari, and you put the engine of a motorbike in it, like a little motorbike. And then you put all this baggage in the Ferrari, so it's heavy. Okay, you've got a high-performance car, but it's got all this extra baggage it doesn't need. And then you put whiskey as the fuel. Do you really think this Ferrari is going to go anywhere? Is it at the top of its game? Yeah. No. You want to get rid of the baggage. You want to put some real fuel in there, some high-octane, traditional hydrocarbons in there that will add some good calorific value. And then the car will perform.
Yeah.
Now, we are no different, because biology, science, physics, thermodynamics, which I'm well aware what a calorie is, it's calories in, calories out. And it's what you do with it and how you convert that into muscle. So what happened is that I lost about 9 to 10 kg of fat, but I also put on 4 kg of muscle mass.
Oh, wow.
You guys call this recomposition. And now that I'm building a fitness app, we also call it composition. So Recomp is where you simultaneously, you're not cutting or shredding or bulking. You're losing fat, but you're also putting on muscle. And this is what I think most people need to do, if they care. Because I'm a great believer in choose your pain. Because nobody, I'm not just referring to my parents, but I see a lot of people, whether it's relatives, whether it's friends, parents, people in the street, you can see them, they're in difficulty. They may not want to admit it, but you know inside that a little bit of guidance would have helped. So although I did entrepreneurship with the Wing, and I'm still with the Wing project, with the aerospace project, the fin technology is still there, I decided, okay, I've gone through this journey. I've worked with personal trainers. I've worked with the Italians, because once I met the Italians, actually they were from Naples, they're Neapolitans, they know exactly who they are. They kind of opened my eyes to what nutrition can be.
Right.
It is simple.
So you're saying the Italians know how to eat?
That, for me, is the biggest understatement.
Really?
Oh, yes. They really are. It's not a mistake that, A, the Italians are one of the most good-looking, like the most of them are like chisel-jawed.
Yeah.
With an exception of the Dutch. The Dutch are also like this, but they cycle everywhere.
Yeah.
They don't have the perfect nutrition. They like their potatoes and veg and meat, but the Dutch are amazing. But they've incorporated cycling everywhere.
Oh, God, yes.
And they're also quite tall.
They're still cycling when it's snowing outside. It's crazy, yeah.
I've seen 85-year-old grandmothers cycle.
Culture is just different.
It's completely mad. But doing this perpetual cardio keeps them slim.
Yeah.
The Italians have, I don't know if you know this, but the Italians have the lowest obesity and overweightness in Europe by far. They're de facto the lowest, which raises, it's 41% against the United Kingdom.
Where do they rank globally?
Somewhere in the middle.
Right.
Because globally, you can actually have
I think
countries.
Japan is probably number one, isn't it?
Yeah. Japan has, and South Korea rank the lowest on terms of obesity and overweight, simply because it's cultural.
Yeah.
For them, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but from the conversation that I had with a Japanese collaborator on the project, it's a bit of, there's a cultural shame attached to it.
To being obese?
Yeah, to be overweight. It's not a done thing.
Right.
You'll be frowned upon.
That sounds pretty healthy, culturally healthy.
Yeah, and there are a lot of cultural norms, but these things are being lost. They're being diluted out, even in Italy, even in Japan. And Japan is actually quite closed.
Yeah.
Like they actually have a big xenophobia, which means they have a slight fear and distrust of anything foreign. Now, again, I'm speaking slightly out of turn, but they want to, Japanese people barely speak English, and English is the number one global language. And I always suggest people to, be eloquent in English and flex a couple of other languages like Spanish or even Japanese.
Yeah.
But the Japanese are quite closed. The Italians are pretty closed. Right. They know what their hacks are. And what is your awareness of Italian food? It's the number one cuisines in the world. It was recognized by the United Nations as a heritage cuisine, the only one on the planet Earth, in December 2025. That's 6 months ago.
Right.
All right. And as a heritage cuisine of the United Nations, which should be protected, it's considered one of the best in the world, and it's actually one of the most popular. What do you understand by Italian cuisine? What do you think they eat every day?
I mean, well, when people talk about Italian cuisine, the only thing that comes to the mind is probably pasta and pizza, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Right.
Pizza is quite carb heavy, as you know.
Yes.
And Italian Neapolitan pizza, because I think pizza started in Naples with the margherita pizza. It's basically farina, which is flour, oil, mozzarella, and the tomato sauce. It's like 4 ingredients. They're all clean. There's no additives. There's no artificial stuff. No ultra refined anything. The flour could be suggested it's white flour, so it could be, you can get a wholemeal pizza at this point. Okay. But they only eat a pizza once every 2 weeks or once every week. The singular thing they eat every day, like the Indians eat rice, that the Europeans eat bread, the Italians eat pasta every day. Now, uniquely outside Italy, this is the most misunderstood, singularly the most misunderstood thing ever. People think pasta is a meal. It's not. Because in Italy, there's a concept of a primo and a secondo. The primo is half the meal. So actually, pasta forms half the meal. And then they have it's a primo, it's a first. This is incomprehensible, actually. You have to have a pasta and then you have to have the meat. The pasta is a small serving. It's about 60, 70, 80 grams. You don't need more. But there's one thing that pasta, for me, that ranks it as a king carb. It is the best in class carb.
Above rice.
Way above rice. It kicks the hell out of rice. As an Indian, I can say that. But do you know why?
Why is that?
Well, pasta has nearly double the protein content of rice.
Oh, wow.
So fiber.
It really does kick.
But that's white pasta. If you then go for the wholemeal version, wholemeal pasta, it has 8 times more fiber, still the same double the protein, but now you're hitting micros. You've got magnesium, you've got phosphorus, and you've got iron, ferro. It's just and it's single ingredient. It's just hard durum wheat. And if you take the Italian brands, they'll even put like the best water from the river, some river in northern Italy. Or the pasta bowl of Italy, the pasta center, is actually a place called Gragnano near Naples, which is part of the region of Campania. Okay, Campania is amazing because it has the best pasta in the world. Pasta was like born there. And they also have mozzarella, like real mozzarella, like buffalo mozzarella, which is, has a 24-hour shelf life. So they fly to Milan for the expensive restaurants.
Yeah.
So the pasta makes that I have realized through eating this and eating the right amount, because instead of eating rice, you get way more fiber, way more protein. So as a vegetarian, I get low fat cheese, sometimes the veggie burgers, slightly processed, but, try to find the clean ones.
Probably the healthiest ones you get.
And I hit my protein goals. I have to. But makes the Italian pasta compared to just generic pasta that you find in the supermarket, they're amazing. They're best in class.
But people perceive pasta to be quite unhealthy and heavy, don't they?
Everyone tells me, but pasta's fattening. It's just been misunderstood.
Right.
It's completely this is a complete madness.
I mean, the fact that it has, 4 times more protein or
twice
of
rice or bread.
Rice, yeah, exactly.
Or 4 times you're right. 4 times the protein of potato.
Yeah.
Potato is just a carb, and it actually is quite, if you don't cook it right, it's rice, and there's something called glycemic index, like, blood sugar, spiking blood sugars. This is all especially important for pre-diabetics and diabetics. So basically, pasta and oats on the other side for a breakfast cereal, which is also about 13% protein and very high in fiber and good fats. These 2 single ingredient foods are the best carbs, and they have the lowest glycemic indices and glycemic loads. But people think pasta makes you fat. Yeah, if you eat anything, it's going to make you fat.
Right.
If you eat 200 grams of anything. So
what's the secret then?
Weigh your food and weigh yourself. Know your numbers. Now, I was in, as I often am, among like 6 Italians or 5 Italians, they're going to cook. It's food. They can talk endlessly about food, and it is beautiful. Well, how much garlic should you put in? Should you dice the garlic? Should you slice the garlic? Should there be garlic? Should you use onion? Sofrito, which is onion, celery, and carrot diced. And you saute that in oil, and always extra virgin olive oil. And then you start cooking your sauce. I noticed there was a large guy, there was a young friend of mine that's in the gym, Andrea, and about 3 other people I can't remember. And they suddenly started doing maths. How much grams of pasta? 80, 140. He's big, 150.
Yeah.
They did the math. They got to about 560 grams. Okay, let's add 40 grams, round up to 600. That's a pack and a little bit. They weighed the pasta. And I thought,
I don't think there's any other culture out there that weighs their food.
You just cook.
Yeah, you just
cook and, good luck.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's enough. And then it hit me. Once you're using the right ingredients, it's the quantity. It's not necessarily that people don't know which products to buy. There's also massive advice that Yuka's helped on this a lot. It's the quantity. Now, unless, and this drove me to a singular conclusion, which was my tipping point. This was my turning point. This is where I decided, okay, enough's enough.
Right.
It's going to take a half-depressed aerospace engineer to solve this problem. Okay? So I decided, I could see there's a very important principle. You can't know how to eat. Nobody knows how to eat, but it's not your fault. You can't know how to eat. Unless you've got a nutritionist who actually knows about food, who's quite smart, you're not going to know your calories. You're 60-something kilos,
64.
64, okay. And if once you start going to the gym a bit more often, you want to get to about 66, 67, I guess. Yeah. You want to gain mass. All right, lovely. So what are your macros? How many calories are you on a day? Do you have any idea?
I would guess somewhere around 2,000.
Actually, we did the math. It's quite a bit higher. But you can't know that if you're just a regular person. And I have spoken to, in researching this out, I've spoken to many, many people, personal trainers, coaches, athletes. Like I'm talking like hardcore, top-ranking athletes. I've talked to Greeks, Italians, German, Dutch, Spanish, because I speak these languages, and in order to connect with these people. And no matter how much in the mindset, I realized something. Nobody optimized. There was always something I could tell them. Me, the person who's not an athlete, not a nutritionist, I can be many things, but I haven't studied nutrition.
Yeah.
I realized that there's many hacks, many things, and many nuances, many products that they don't know about. Pasta is actually one thing. I even tell Italians, pasta is like a king carb. They don't know why. They just take it for granted because it's cultural. And they know their grams.
Someone watching this podcast, if they want to know how much pasta they should consume?
Average portion size, as suggested on the label, is actually correct for the average person, which is 80 grams. Why don't you eat in a restaurant? I mean, apart from the quality and you don't know where the food's been and all this quality, it's not for you. If we go to a restaurant, we cannot eat the same food.
Mm-hmm.
You will have a completely different amount of carbs and protein than me. And you're probably twice the amount of carbs.
Right.
So you're probably about 120.
Size will be much bigger than you.
Much bigger. So the idea of an average portion size is wrong. Actually, when I first met my very close Italian friend, Andrea, and we did lockdown together with another Italian guy, we were eating the same amount. You know what happened after 6 months? I put on 2 kilos and he lost weight. Now, he's not a personal trainer, but once I started talking to the personal trainer and realized that Andrea eats 150 grams of pasta and I eat 60, the factor is you can't have an average. So going to a restaurant, even if you're getting the best olive oil, you're getting the best meat, you're getting the best, it's still not for you.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
The recommended amount of 80 grams, it doesn't look that much.
It isn't that much because you're supposed to shove protein in you.
Right.
You're not supposed to shove bread, and please don't eat bread with pasta in the name of God, no.
So your diet has been consistent now since the last, how many years?
About 4 years.
About 4 years.
I've learned how to cook, mostly, but not pasta, but
Italian cuisine,
sourdough sandwiches, figuring out which are the right carbs, understanding that I need 2 slices of bread, whereas you probably eat 3 and Andrea would eat 4, for example, if we were to have dinner together. And understanding that's also fair because your needs are different to mine. So that's why a restaurant doesn't actually work. So if a person looking is trying to understand how to fuel themselves, I would suggest, as I do to my students, because I was teaching university, I think a couple of years ago, I was teaching at the geopolitical. At some point, the students say, I'm a marathon runner, sir, and I'm doing this, that, and the other, and I'm in the gym, sir, and I can see, you look very good, sir.
Yeah.
And they were being nice because they wanted good grades, but they were also being genuinely nice because the coffee breaks were getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
So we ended up chatting about, politics. The fun fact was I ended up doing 10-minute sessions or 5-minute, taster sessions on nutrition. I was saying, okay, dump the vegetable oil, which is ultra refined, and go for extra virgin olive oil. But sir, it's very expensive. Yes, use a tablespoon of it. Mm-hmm. Dump the rice or dump the sliced bread in a packet that's got a 2-week shelf life because it's got 18 ingredients. You should only have 4. And use this pasta or use this bread. So I ended up teaching them nutrition, like swaps that were cheap. I would start hitting their macros a lot better. I said, in the name of God, stop eating processed cereals and swap to oats. It'll keep you fuller longer. So I started to appreciate how nuanced this is.
Yeah.
You've got macros. You've got additives, some of which are okay, some which are safe, some which are necessary, some which are fortifications of vitamins.
Yeah.
You've got aldehydes. You've got terms which no human can understand. I've done hundreds of hours of research.
Yeah.
And I'm a researcher. I know how to prompt ChatGPT and I know how to, troll through journals and read journals fast because I'm trained in this. I couldn't expect the average person to do this, to navigate this.
Of course.
The nutrition minefield is mad.
Yeah. But that's the problem, right? The reason why they have a poor diet is not because it's not because they don't know. It's just because they've never been made aware in the first place.
Absolutely.
It's not what you don't know that will hurt you. It's what you don't know that you don't know that will hurt you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Also, there's a lot of psychology involved in when these famous brands market their products, right? They appear healthy. They appear to be very nice, but actually they contain a lot of harmful ingredients that damage your health.
Yeah. And with certain others, you can reduce that. You can make product swaps. Some of these apps make suggestions like don't use this brand, use that brand. Now, that's perfectly fine. It's based on a number ranking system out of 100. But it is very, very, very complicated because in this space, every idiot and every person has an opinion. And I regard ignorance is not the absence of intelligence or knowledge. I regard ignorance, and there's many ignorant people, as the person who thinks he knows. Mm. Now, you'll come across many of them. I'm sure in your job, in your regular job, and in the world where you deal with people, people represent that they know things. Right. They might even have the degrees to support it. It's the humility and the willingness to open your brain and open both your ears to listen to what someone has to say and try and find the value. Yeah. And try and improve because everyone has something to offer. Usually. But in not having someone who's ignorant And someone who's willing to learn means putting your ego aside.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you end up with an ego fool. Oh, I know. I've studied. I know everything.
Ego fool. That's a beautiful word.
So the thing is that, and people do have to have a lot of ego.
Mm-hmm.
It comes from the Greek word ego, which means I. So, and as a Greek speaker, when we say ego, you feel it. It means I. So the thing is that
we're talking about products and marketing and how.
Oh yeah. So some of these products have what they call them, food scientists, food engineers, and it's to make the crunch better and to make the amount of salt just right. And they do, some of these things have sugar and salt together to make it completely addictive. Mm-hmm. And as a person who loves these foods, because I don't live in a world where there's no biscuits, where there's no crisps, where there's no ice cream, but I do know that I'm going to eat one of those objects as a snack every few days, not every day, because if I do it every day, I will see the difference. And I did. I have. I've seen the difference.
But I mean, apart from the change in your physical appearance after having changed your diet drastically and starting to work out, seeing a few pounds.
And also improve posture.
Yeah. Are the benefits you notice? Aside from just looking good. I mean, I'm coming from a mindset point of view. Feeling good, feeling more competent.
Absolutely. And this is where it hits most important, because it's not about vanity. It's not about how you look to others. It's more important how you feel with yourself. Mm-hmm. After COVID, a European study was done. It was found that 68% of young people, the new generation, they wanted to know the impact and would be prepared to pay. The idea of putting money for branded clothes went completely out the window. It changed after COVID. Yeah, there was a pivot. And people were now more concerned with the impact on what they ingest and what they eat on a daily basis on their happiness and on their contentment and how it makes them feel, like, stress and all that.
So there's a direct correlation between what you put in your body and how you feel.
And once you accept that, it's a real thing. You can look at the biochemical physics of this, and eating whole food, apart from being highly commonsensical, is way more nutritious and makes you feel better because it's been less processed. We did a study in my company that we took a diet of just ultra-processed foods, all the goodies, frozen pizza, Coca-Cola, processed cereal, all the junk, what is called junk food. And we did a 2,800 calorie daily intake of that at UK prices, average UK prices from the average UK supermarket, but nothing fancy, just the regular, the big brands. And then I did the same calorie, so calorically same, and we looked at the cost and macros of both. Let's do the cost, because people only care about two things when it comes to most things in life, and definitely when it comes to nutrition: time and the money. Assuming you can hit your macros, which is an added bonus, but time and money. You don't want to spend too much money on food because you don't want to spend too much money on anything because everything costs, especially in today's day and age. And you don't want to spend too much time in the kitchen. And people are mostly constrained, especially in London, from our research and from just common sense, by time. Mm-hmm. So coming back to the analysis that we did, you take one diet of UPFDs, ultra-processed food and drinks, the junk or the lovely stuff, depending on which lens you look, and whole foods, oats, pasta, beans. Which do you think was more expensive? The whole foods, the nutritious foods, or the junk foods?
Well, I would presume the junk food was way more expensive.
I've asked this question of about 50 people, and most people say that the whole food is more expensive. No, not organic.
Sorry.
Because organic, you have to pay companies not to screw with your food.
Why would people think that?
Because they think eating whole food, you have to eat, it's a premium thing. Whereas this is just convenient. If you get a pizza done, can you imagine how much more expensive? Do you have an idea? How much more expensive would that be percentage-wise? Do you have an estimate?
I'll just guess 200%.
Oh, you're close.
Really?
Yeah. 260%. That's 2.6. Yes.
Wow.
And it's mad.
Yeah.
You can save a lot of money. The macros are all wrong. The junk food had way too much bad fat, like saturated fat, but not even the good saturated, because the saturated fat in temperance is good. Mm-hmm. Butter is good. But if you eat half a kilo of butter every day, you won't see 30.
Yeah.
They're good to cooking, but not every single meal. Mm-hmm. Okay. The swap is extra virgin olive oil. Okay. You can saute and cook in extra virgin olive. The entire Mediterranean's been doing it for hundreds of years. Mm. It's a myth that you can't.
Yeah.
The polyphenols, the antioxidants in the extra virgin olive oil protect the oil. So if you shallow fry meat, veg with a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, you are good to go. Yeah. So it was low in protein, low in fiber, high in fats, bad fats, and high in carbs. Whereas this was hitting the macros, it's cheaper. And if you know how to cook it, you could probably do it in the same time.
So, but if people know that whole foods are much more cheaper than junk food and they're much more nutrition, much more healthier for you, why do people still go for the junk food? I mean, is it just because it tastes good, or there's another reason?
You can make the whole food taste good. I mean, I've tried quinoa, I've tried dishes which just taste of nothing. When I met the Italians and they started putting garlic and they really got putting like making strong, because the Napolitans, they have strong tastes. They're very famous, like we like sapori forti.
Yeah.
So like chili, like real South Italian chili, olive, you can taste the olive oil. They actually have pasta called aglio olio, which just means oil and garlic. The poorest, Italian household has to have pasta, oil and garlic. Otherwise, it's not an Italian household.
So what do you think is a bigger problem, food discipline or food intelligence?
Intelligence.
Food intelligence, right?
Because once you realize that, then you'll automatically go and do it. You say, okay, you know what, screw this.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, people from the experience, when I say they swap, I say, sir, I'm feeling better and it's costing me less.
Right.
And it's much quicker.
But there are a lot of people out there who know what's good for them and what isn't, yet they still choose to consume the stuff that's not good for them because it tastes good, simply because it's just more delicious.
It's an illusion. Because a lot of these foods are engineered and they're not natural tastes.
Right.
Like there's a curved crisp called Pringles. I defy you to eat one Pringle. Now, we're both kind of in the mindset. If you give me one Pringle, I'll probably go through half the box.
Yeah.
I cannot stop. They're designed and they're good.
Yeah.
And sometimes we even eat Pringles. Like once every 3 months, I'll say, okay, I know it's full of things that I really shouldn't eat.
The fact that all junk food tastes so good, it's not a coincidence.
No,
right?
it's been engineered
that way.
But it's satisfying a need. You see, it's about supply and demand. I'm not putting the blame on big food. I'm not going down that lens. It's demand. I'm looking at the demand lens, not the supply lens. They will provide whatever people demand. Convenience became a thing. A big thing with this was the use of ultra-processed, ultra-refined oils in the 50s. And this was Crisco, an American company that used solidified oils. And it became ubiquitous in the American diet. And they say is partially responsible for the American obesity problem, et cetera, et cetera. Very complex argument.
That's a valid point, because you can't just go out there and blame these brands all the time.
No.
Demand from the public, from the people.
They have to make money. A studied economist, I can tell you, if there's a profit margin,
they'll produce it.
They'll give you cancer in a box if the regulations allow them, and they're going to do well.
Yeah.
You see, there's one principle of economics that people refuse to understand in capitalism. It is page 0. It's not even Economics 101. It's page 0 of every economics textbook. You know what it is? Caveat emptor. It is a Latin expression, means the buyer beware. There's only so much regulation that the government can do. And they do, bless them. The EU has much tighter regulations on additives than the Americas. That's why you see, let's say, Fruit Loops America with Fruit Loops in Europe. They have completely different ingredient labels because of the regulation. But it's on the onus is on the buyer. Be careful what you buy with your dollar. Okay? And you, as an intelligent consumer, you have to be smart. Okay, I need things that are actually going to hit my macros, hit my micros, your vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and all the other, the things that you need, while not bankrupting me.
So essentially, it is the responsibility of the consumer.
Yes. I mean, ethical, one can say that producers have to be ethical. I dabble that they've all got, if you look on any company, big food, small food website, you'll see corporate response, CSR, corporate social responsibility. They're all planting forests and they're all doing the best things on earth.
Do you think in the modern world, nutrition intelligence is now beginning to gain some traction?
Absolutely. The world is changing.
Right.
And there's a lot of evidence for this. They're not overpriced.
What's causing it? Is it the influencers, the social media influencers?
No.
That is aware of the health consequences.
For the new gen, yes, because there is a consensus with all these influencers.
Right.
However, some influencers, and I've spoken to a few of them, some of them are promoting brands that are not optimal because they're paid.
Right.
All right. And also some of them are not certified nutritionists. And actually, a lot of these coaches, these personal trainers and coaches and influencers, they struggle with nutrition. That's the one they delegate out. They want to get rid of it because it's just such a headache. But what is definitely gaining traction, you're seeing the consumer now demanding. I think even Heinz did this, and Heinz is a huge mega corporation. They have sauces now that have ingredients on the front. There's actually a brand in Holland called Upfront. The ingredients are on the front of the label. You see the label. It's not just like, tomato sauce. It's tomatoes, olive oil, this. And they've taken out the sugar or reduced it considerably. They've taken out the ultra refined oils. They've taken out the bad additives, or as I know scientifically, it's called crap.
Right.
All right. So the world is changing. People want more whole foods. People talk about gut biome and satiety and how full longer.
I mean, look.
So it is a science, but it's actually got a very easy solution.
But this is what I find extremely preposterous, right? What you put inside your body is such an important thing, yet it's not taught to us from a younger age.
It is if you're in a Japanese school.
Yeah, right. So that was
cultural.
As an academic, as an engineer, as someone who's got a doctorate, do you think that nutrition should become a fundamental part of the education system?
Well, I'm going to respond to your question with a question. What is the singular most important thing you're going to do today? What's the single most important decision you're going to make in terms of cost to you and pain to you? Food. It's what you shove inside your body every day. And you can make it a very nice and pleasurable and tasty experience.
Right.
All right. And the thing is that schools should teach. But what you see is that even schools don't know what the hell they're doing. If you look at the education system in this country, I mean, I have a long list of complaints about it. I'm seeing
it deteriorated quite a lot.
Since the 90s, I've been sitting on one of the most prestigious boards of academics of engineering in this country. And we all talk between us, and we know that the standards are just going like this. But coming back to your most important decision, which will affect your well-being, it'll affect how much pain you'll have in your life. It'll affect how much happiness you could potentially have in your life, and how you feel, and how strong you feel, and your body can become your tool. And you focus on positive things, going to a gym and enjoying life and fueling yourself properly. This should be taught in schools. Why not? It should be taught in schools, like it is taught in other countries. So you see, Italy has a very strong food culture. They know you're not supposed to eat more than, 100, 120 grams of... Everyone's got their own grammage of pasta, for example, or rice, or bread. It's different. If you go to Naples, there's this very famous Crosta Mollica, I think it's called. And they've actually opened in London. And the idea is that you get a nice sandwich full of the best prosciutto, the best meat, the best cheese. But interesting enough, they ask you, con mollica or senza mollica, which means with the bread inside or without. So basically, they'll take the big ciabatta or whatever the bread is, they'll slice it in the middle, open it, and remove. If you say senza mollica, they'll actually remove the bready part, the spongy part of the bread, to reduce the carb. So you just have the tasty outside.
Right.
So a lot of people go for that. It's just lighter. There's less carb. So the ratio becomes more optimal to you. So, and it's just these little hacks that just, it's food intelligence. It's intelligence sounds like a big word.
It's more like common sense, just knowing what to put in your body.
Yes, and it becomes common sense. Once you understand, once you see it, because I've been through the journey of not knowing anything to doing the research, talking to people, asking people, interacting with my Greek friends, realizing what they do for the last 10, 15 years. I mean, I know what the Greeks have done since the 90s. A lot of lentils, beans. It's rather like the...
I mean, thanks to you, I've made this switch from using sunflower oil to now olive oil. And thanks to you, I've made that change now, and I feel much better.
But you also reduced your rice.
Exactly.
And how does that make you feel?
Much better. My pasta is a game changer. And not only because I'm eating pasta, but because I'm weighing my pasta as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So what's your grams exactly?
It's about 130 grams.
Yeah. And that's perfect for keeping your height, your weight, and your activity.
The thing is, I no longer feel heavier after my food.
Which is an amazing...
Yep. I know the food I'm eating is nutritious.
Yeah.
I know it's healthy.
Yeah.
And I know it's cheap because all I have to do is purchase. If I'm making chickpea pasta, which is the Parma's pasta, very popular in South Italy. Right?
Oh God, yes. This is an ultimate hack. Even this is a South Italian hack. Because Italy, as the boot, has got the north-south divide.
I mean, I want to put into perspective how cheap, healthy food really is, especially pasta.
The brands of pasta that we eat in my home and in most of my Italian friends' homes who actually know what the hell they're doing, the best Italian brands that are actually very available here on Amazon and in supermarkets, certain supermarkets here, are Rummo, 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 La Molisana, and this is all near Naples, like it's from the south. Garofalo is a beautiful brand, Garofalo, and Voiello.
Right.
And Voiello is the premium of Barilla, and everyone knows Barilla. Barilla is the standard pasta every day, every man's pasta. So at the very least, Barilla is everywhere in all the supermarkets.
Is Barilla a one-pot pasta as well?
You can even break spaghetti spezzati. This is used when you're making, let's say, the poor man's pasta. Now, the poor man's pasta, to people who have no idea what we're talking about, is one pot pasta, super pastas. I call them the gladiator pastas. It's pasta with protein mixed and cooked together.
In just one pot?
In just one pot.
So you don't have to boil the pasta separately?
No. You even get away with that.
Which is a part most people find extremely grueling.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not that grueling. But yes, you have the headache.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started learning about making pasta, this idea of boiling pasta separately and
then integrating and then mixing it.
That was too much.
And I realized that the one pot poor man's pasta povero, which I don't think is poor at all, it is superlative in protein. It is superlative in nutrients. It really doesn't cost that much, and we'll break it down. So basically, you've got the pasta. So even if you get rummo, which is a Rolls Royce of pasta in my things, not getting so yes. Anyway, so let's take rummo pasta, which is like 14.5%. It's getting there. We can take the integrale, which is the whole wheat pasta. Okay, high in everything. It's actually 15% protein for the integrale. So you eat 130 grams of that. A pack of that damn thing costs £2.50 max. £2.20.
You get a kilogram of pasta.
No, half a kilo. They're in half a
500 grams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally you can get kilo and 2 kilo, but it's always half a kilo.
Yeah.
Because normally if you're 3 or 4 people or a family, you cook half a kilo.
Yeah.
So 130 grams using my elementary mathematics would set you back, it's just over a fifth, 70p.
Okay.
So that's the pasta tinker. And you're already ingesting 17 grams of protein there. And God knows how much in fiber. All right. Add an entire can of chickpeas. Okay, that's 270 grams or 240 grams of drained weight of chickpeas at 7%. So another 23 grams of protein. So, and that a can
that can cost you
60p. M&S has just released 270 grams drained at 60 pence. I could not believe this price point.
Wow.
Yes, you can see the chickpeas. Then you can add some low-fat or even high-fat cheese. Add some cheese, make it creamy towards the end, and you're cooking it all together. But you got some garlic, so you're not really spending north of £1.50. You're eating
definitely under £2.
Definitely under £2, and add obviously extra virgin olive oil. That's actually quite an expensive comb because good olive oil, a litre would set you back at M&S £9. They have this, bless. But you're only supposed to use 2 tablespoons of it. I'll give you 3-4 tablespoons of it. Put 20 mil in there.
Yeah.
That's another 30p. Yeah, you're still under £2. You can fuel yourself in 14 minutes with probably one of the most tasty things you'll ever eat. You like spicy food.
I've tried it and I love it. Yeah.
But what do you add to it to make it to your palate?
I obviously, being Indian, I will go for the spices, isn't it?
Well, it's not obvious because I'm Indian and I don't love spices.
Yeah, but
So you put some Indian spices now. That's an interesting flex.
Yeah,
That's a twist.
Are quintessentially Indian.
All right, so you can you do that in the sautéing phase when you're sautéing the onions and the garlic with the olive oil.
When I'm chopping everything up at the beginning, my garlic and my
chop. You can actually buy that stuff already chopped.
Yeah.
Another hack. So there's all even
so you can optimize this.
You can optimize the optimized. Yeah, you can even shave 1 minute.
So 430 grams of pasta. How much protein? How much carbs?
There's about 18 grams of protein in there.
Are you sure 18? It has to be more than 18, no? Because you put the chickpeas and you've...
No. Oh, you mean pasta? I thought you meant just the product pasta.
No, not just
the whole thing.
Whole thing.
Everything. Oh, you'll hit your macros. You've got about 40 grams of protein in there.
Oh, wow.
45. You'll hit it.
14 grams of pasta.
40.
Sorry?
Protein, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you need 150 grams of carb, 130 grams of carb. You'll hit 15 grams of fibers. You're hitting your macros, and basically
2 pounds in 15 minutes. You get all those numbers. Pot pasta, it's incredible.
And obviously, if you're cooking for your girlfriend, your fiance, your wife to be, or your wife, or your kids, they eat different amounts of them. They'll eat more.
But you see, the interesting thing is these hacks are not known to work. They've been kept a secret amongst the Italians.
The Italians are a very closed race of people, bless them, because they only, like the amount of times I've met some random or not so random Italians, and they look at me and with the obvious thing, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you here?
Yeah.
I open my mouth within 10 seconds because I'm talking in Italian, like an Italian. And actually, sometimes if I get a bit pissed off, I don't say aspetta, which means wait. I say aspetta. And that is a legacy of my best friend who, the Neapolitans are very hardcore.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm blessed and privileged that I've got very good friends from all over Italy. And the Neapolitans are really good-hearted people. And within 30 seconds
Yeah.
of me yapping with these people, you know, I'm already in the group. You understand? It's as simple as, and this is what I tell my students. If you want to be successful in life, like, you know, flex English, be eloquent and good in English by obviously reading books, which is something that's been forgotten. I mean, real books, not.
Yeah, I mean, the art of reading books has been lost in today's modern world.
And that is why the people who are going to dominate moving forward are people who are literate.
Yeah.
People who have read
Quite
books.
literally, readers are leaders. Quite
Oh,
literally.
wow.
Yeah.
I heard that.
People who read, they become eloquent, they become articulate, and they just have that
they-
slight bit of edge.
Because you can tell it gives depth to the person.
It gives depth to their character.
Like when we met,
Yeah.
you started talking about, and Machiavelli said, and Machiavelli is this Italian poet, diplomat of back in the day. And I said,
Political
"What?"
philosopher, yeah.
Yeah, and you know way more than me.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, how did he do this? So it's very important that, and you've been, bless you, trying to learn Italian on Duolingo. I think you're on your third word now.
I give up. I put my hands up in the air.
For you to speak any language, I defy you, or anybody to speak a language, is them to be immersed in that language and not have the option to default to English.
So they're basically getting
You're forced
to speak that
Yeah.
language.
If I throw you into a gym, because a lot of people, even me, when I first went to a gym like 5 years ago, I was terrified. I said, well, okay, I feel a bit weird here. It's like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I don't look good and I have to, everybody else is like fit. And it's like, okay, this is not my comfort zone. Now the gym is my go-to safe space. When I travel, I actually go gym touring. I go to the gym in Holland. There's a gym I go to, Carb Gym, which actually gives you free espresso in the beginning. Beautiful. So it's about getting comfortable. And it's about the only way is getting comfortable with the people you're going to speak with. And if you can't default to English, then okay, this is potiri in Greek. This is bicchiere in
When you get involved in the language and you immerse yourself in it, that's when you're forced to learn it.
and you associate directly. Because if you're
associate
translating in your head, that's when you'll burn your brain
Yeah.
out because you're not actually speaking the language.
I want to learn a bit more about the app that you're building and what inspired you to build this app. So what is it and why have you decided to build this app, which is so different from everything else that you've done in your life?
Okay. So different is an overstatement in the sense that it's still a multi-layer complex optimization problem, but now it's even more nuanced because there's culture. There are people have their ideas. People talk about anti-nutrients, additives, hydrogenated fats, aldehydes, the terminology. It's a minefield.
Yes.
I call it the nutrition minefield.
Right.
Like
So-
nobody can be expected to navigate.
So what exactly is the app? Yeah.
So it's the app. The app is something that I wish existed 15 years ago.
Hmm.
It really would have helped me. And the first use of my app is going to be me because I need it.
Just exactly.
Because I need to know, I don't know my calories, I don't know my macros, I don't know which products, but actually now I do. But I'm actually building the tool that will guide me and guide everybody else. And more importantly, I see a need. When in the United Kingdom, 58% of the population is overweight and obese, I think we can put our hands up that there's a slight problem.
Mhm.
I mean, some people want to be large. That's completely fine. Given your own decision, given your own responsibility of what you want to look like, which is completely yours and completely valid and completely, do whatever you want.
Mhm.
A lot of people are struggling with how do I manage my nutrition?
Right.
Because they're not eating, but they know they're not eating properly. People know, and this country has a staggeringly high portion of junk food, and they know it's junk. They know it's not good for them. And then you see people pay the price.
Yeah, and that also has a knock-on effect on your mental health, on your depression.
Of course, yeah. And then you end up, consuming millions of pills when you go. So it's choose your pain.
Yeah.
All right. So, a bit of discipline now, but it's about guidance. So the app, you asked me why we transited this app. I see a great market. Unlike the aerospace project, which has 5 buyers, which is almost a monopsony. So there's only a few buyers for this. I found a market which concerns everybody because guess what?
The thing is, saying everyone eat is one thing. And to convince them to actually eat healthy is a totally different ballgame. Because there are people out there right now who know they should be eating healthy, yet they choose not to because they don't have that food discipline. So
it's not about discipline, it's just about knowing.
So do you think it's more to do with
I'm not the most disciplined person. Like you give me a diet. I mean, I don't want to just eat plain food all day. Amazing. But I also want to cheat. I also want the tea and biscuits. I also want a slice of cake every so often, as long as it's nice cake. Tiramisu, a beautiful Greek Italian sweet. I also want the odd ice cream, the odd gelato. I'm human.
Of course.
Life is not worth living if you can't have that.
Yeah.
The odd beer if you drink, the odd whiskey. Of course.
We might even have after this podcast.
Yeah, let's do that. I won't mind a Neapolitan pizza, to be honest.
Pizza and a beer.
Pizza and beer. I'll do something slightly hard.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we all have to live, but it's understanding to balance. Now, so I'm creating an app because I can't talk anymore. I can't explain anymore to everybody. I'm just talked out because I realized that you have to start with what is a calorie to what is a macro. Then you get into which are the good foods, which are the go-to foods, which are the university available foods, which are cheaper, which will hit your macros, blah, 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 one pot pasta. It's an infinite series. So the easiest and best way to present this as a tool as a game-changing tool is to put it in the hands of people in the most convenient space, which is on their phone, and a bit of guidance. Not a tracking app, because I don't track. I'd rather jump out the window here.
Yeah.
It's just giving the info, giving the solution. You said something very interesting. You said convincing people to eat. I'll phrase it differently. Tell that person they can save money, save time, and save their health and make themselves happier. Do they want to do it?
Of course. I mean, it sounds like a no-brainer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I made and positioned this app as the no-brainer app. It's the app that I wish existed 20 years ago.
Right. I understand that. Now, what's going to separate this app from all the other apps that exist in the market in this nutrition and fitness space? Because does the world really need another app?
That is a very, very incisive question. Simplicity. This is such a minefield that every single person I've spoken to, whether it be a coach, personal trainer, person like you, someone in the mindset, someone outside the mindset, someone old, young, irrespective, they've asked me one single thing. Raj, in the name of everything holy, please simplify. My turning point was a guy sitting opposite me in a gym. He said, I do boxing. I'm almost a championship boxer. I said, why are you freaking depressed? I don't know what to eat tonight. And he literally said to me, I said, I'm building this app. He said, please, just tell me what to effing eat. And when he said that, I realized people just want to be told. But they want real solutions, real hacks. So it's about giving real value. So what separates I can't say my because we're a team of people, an international team of people. I've got a Greek, Italian, German, Dutch, Indian as well. What separates the app is we're doing it differently. We're simplifying the landscape at many levels.
That is a very important USP because when I look at someone like me, I would love to have an app that teaches me how to eat healthy, how to fuel my body,
shop
move
healthy,
my body, and all that with the utmost level of simplicity. Because, at the moment, you've got 1,000 apps out.
Exactly. One for training.
Make you feel like you've just entered the cockpit of a Boeing 747.
And I'm a scientist. I'm one of the only people I know that can handle multidimensional level arrays and complex metrics and complex numbers. And even I get a headache. So I don't need to be told from an app that to complete my day, I need 17 grams of fiber.
Yeah.
What do you do with that? Do I start eating the tree?
Exactly. I mean, a nutritionist or a personal trainer would understand that, but for the average person who
it's not fit for purpose.
It's not fit for purpose. Absolutely. Yes.
And I'm reducing, but not reducing the technicality. In fact, we are developing a standard nutrition engine. And we've also, as part of our assets, we've developed a smooth engine, which is a more clever engine. But this engine, we're now in talks with universities to develop it and validate it. So then we can have that as an optional engine or an advanced level engine, for version 2.0.
Right.
So it's basically putting everything under the hood and making it immersive, making a beautiful UX. It doesn't look like the cockpit of a Boeing 747, which has to be functional. We don't look too functional, but it has to be functional in its aim. It has to tell you which products to buy. It has to tell you how much to eat, that you can cook it in 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 minutes, and tells you the quantity.
I mean, as an engineer and a mathematician, I think you love numbers, obviously, but I don't think that would be the case for most people. I mean, I don't have a numbers head on my shoulders, as you would know.
You're okay with numbers. You do underestimate yourself slightly, but it's just by interacting with numbers and using this to actually do complex calculations. I want to do a thought experiment with you. All right, let's take a timeout. One of the things I did when I did the supercomputing was start to solve problems, especially for the fintech thing, in 7 dimensions.
Right.
Now, people cannot think in more than 3 dimensions. So let me introduce you to the 4th dimension. Okay, it's not something in a Spielberg conspiracy movie. I do a lot of this stuff in my head. I don't say very good, but I've trained myself to visualize complex problems in complex arrays and multidimensional space in my head, so I can do the operations, the mathematical operations, and see how that can be then coded in computing. So let's try with you. Let's see how far I can get with you. You can see we're in a room, and obviously the room is three-dimensional. There's X, there's Y, and there's the height Z. So you have a three-dimensional space. We're already in 3 dimensions. Now, this is near the window, this is not near the window. Imagine this box in your head. The time is now 7:44. So T equals 7:44. And there's a temperature distribution in the room. So near the window, it's hotter than away from the window, correct? So if you had to store a box of numbers in your head that represented the spatial representation of the room as a temperature distribution, you'd probably imagine that here the temperature would be more like 30 Celsius. You get nodes of 30, 29, 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in temperature, not position, temperature. This is understood because of where you are in the array. It starts at 1 and ends at 100. So there's 100 nodes that way and 50 nodes that way. So 100 by 100 times 50. Okay, that's 50,000 or something. 50,000 nodes. So, and you've got temperature sensors. So if you can imagine this in your head, that you've got the temperature distribution within the room. Okay, so obviously near the window it's going to be hotter, and as you move away from the window because the air conditioning, it gets to more like a nice cooler 20 Celsius. Okay, the fourth dimension is to take that entire three-dimensional array and replicate it, right? Because this is at time t equals 7:45,
right?
And now the temperature distribution, because the sun's been shining, is probably 28 degrees,
right? So
if you can just have one box there, and the temperatures change. Then you repeat the box. You just multiply it in your head, like a three-dimensional box, multiply.
For a different time?
For a different time.
Right.
So this, you can see a line being created of boxes. Three-dimensional boxes on a fourth dimension, which is the line, which is the time variable. So in engineering, a very common thing is T is the fourth variable. But I'm now teaching you, and anybody else who's listening to this, how to visualize in 4 dimensions data. Did you get it?
Oh, God, yes. I visualize the boxes in my head.
Yeah, and they're floating, and then you can get, if we do 10 minutes, you've got 10 boxes, no?
Yeah.
Each one representing a moment in time, defined at 44, 7:45, 7:46, and this is your 4th dimension. And that's how you can start to then do mathematical operations relating certain boxes to each other. And this is where, if you train your brain like this, to visualize, appreciate, and read about this stuff, and then how to mathematically use it. That's how you'll develop your brain.
Right.
Use it or lose it.
The interesting thing is, see, your brain was developed in an era where you were forced to use it, right?
Yes.
In today's modern world, I want to understand how the landscape of entrepreneurship and education has evolved through the birth of AI. I mean, do you think most people are capable of processing that level of information, considering the fact that they've got ChatGPT to go to?
There are studies that have come out of America that suggest that since the birth of technology, like going back to the 70s, because when I was at school, what did you have? Paper, a pencil, and if you're lucky, a rubber. If you're not lucky, you don't have a rubber, so you have to think about what you write so you don't make a mistake. Sometimes they take the rubber away.
Yeah.
Okay, pencil and rubber. As technology became more prevalent in the system, first with calculators, then so people stopped using, trigonometric tables. This will be way before your time. This will be way before my time, my father's time. Then calculators came in, then smartphones, laptops. It's been noticed that as technology goes up, the kids become stupider, for want of a better word.
Right.
They become dumber.
Yeah, because
their capacity reduces, because in the crucial formative years between 6 and 25, everything's being done by a machine. Now, as a person who knows about computing and understands that these are all very, very powerful tools, and I understand how to do it manually, but I also know how to leverage the tool to do trillions of calculations a second. And it becomes an art, coding, optimally coding very complex processes. The invention of AI and the availability of it to the average consumer is a double-edged sword. It is a blessing and a curse.
Right.
A lot more information, but it also does the critical thinking. It does the analysis, does the research. Now, I've trawled through libraries full of research papers. I didn't even have a computer back in the day. I had to look manually through journals to find relevant journals to my research. But the problem is that when you have a tool that can do all the thinking for you, you're going to do less thinking.
Yes.
Because you want to optimize time. So in my considered opinion, I would like to see two things happen to any education system, or if someone really cares about leveling themselves up, they should do two things. Pencil and paper, and start doing manual calculations. Start drawing.
Just to train your brain. Yeah.
Train your brain, train your hand. Allow, as you'd say, allow the tech.
But a lot of people would argue, what is the point? What is the point in all of that when you have this technology, at your disposal?
I've heard people actually say that in a different way.
Right.
What's the point of me knowing how to write?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can do it. And actually can.
Yeah.
Please write an email to my superior suggesting that I'm going to be late. And if possible, you can redirect the calls in the morning to my superior and phrase it in a way that...
Yeah, and then ChatGPT would just produce a beautiful, nice, long email.
Email with completely politically correct, deferential, with the amount of respect in the same tone. It knows how you are, so it actually do it in your voice. Now, you don't need to know how to write email.
The funny thing I've noticed from my experience is that a lot of times people think, I'm going to use ChatGPT to write an email. And ChatGPT is going to produce a beautiful email for me. I'm going to send that to my boss, and my boss is going to think I'm the cleverest person in
people
the room.
know.
When in reality, people can actually tell when you've used AI.
Of course, because
so now I'm at a stage where I actually respect someone who
makes the odd mistake. You do know that email, even way before AI, had spell checker. And grammatical check.
Yes.
So you shouldn't technically see spelling errors. You shouldn't see grammatical errors.
Yeah.
Like I is. It should be, whatever. So I am. So it's not a matter of seeing the errors, because that also should be there. The guy should know how to use a spell check. But people do know, because what we notice, and I've seen this with students, some of these, ChatGPT degrees, I call them Chat because there's no exam and everything's done ChatGPT. So why the student should ever study or open a book, and in fact, so some of the more useless universities, and I call them useless because they really shouldn't be universities, offer courses where there's not a single exam. Professors tell me, no, but the pedagogy is not to have examinations because it's too stressful. Yeah, life is stressful. You have just to be able to work under pressure.
Yeah.
An exam tests you.
Yeah, of course.
So now you're asking for an essay that can be written with AI. And actually they have, the university responds, okay, we have an AI algorithm checker, but then there's another checker to fool the checker. It becomes, you go into levels of madness here.
Yeah.
So people get degrees that they're paid eons of money for, that they've never had an exam. And then you realize, you see the most eloquent, and the person can barely speak English. And you think, okay, you really didn't write this, but I'm not going to go through the mad procedure of proving that you didn't write it. And that's why, I ceased with this.
There was a very funny meme I saw a couple of days ago. It was a screenshot of Sam Altman's Twitter message saying, "Launched ChatGPT, please go have a look." And then the caption said, "Life before this tweet." And there was an image of a person just cycling through the forest or something. And it depicts how life was like before people started using ChatGPT and AI started abusing it rather.
Yeah, it's use and abuse.
Use and abuse. I mean, I personally think AI is a beautiful thing as long as they get.
Most people abuse.
I mean, this mobile phone is a beautiful thing. If you just use it to, talk to people, stay in touch with your close friends. But if you're scrolling endlessly through Instagram and but if you're using it to endlessly scroll through TikTok and Instagram,
it's not the TikTok and
the day.
It's like if you're scrolling in anything else.
But yeah, I mean, the whole point is, there should be a limit.
Yeah, but who's to say what the limit is? We live in a free society.
Yeah.
It's caveat emptor. Be careful. If you consume too much of anything is bad. I mean, for God's sake, too much water will kill you.
Yes, exactly.
Nobody said that you shouldn't drink water and shouldn't hydrate. And there's actually a toxic level, in the same way there's a toxic level of any venom of a snake, or caffeine has a toxic lethal amount. Yeah. Water does too. So if you get about 30 liters of this, you're dead.
Yeah.
But if you have 0 liters of this, you're dead. So if you draw the curve of where you optimize, I mean, for most humans, about 2 to 3 liters a day, goes up and then it has to go down. So this is valid for everything in life. And this is why work-life balance, mobile phone hygiene, don't use the phone an hour before you sleep because of blue light and all these very valid things.
Yeah.
Everything is about balance, and you are free to overdose on that. You are free to excessively consume anything, whether it's what
you'll end up paying eventually.
You always pay a price. Anything you do has a consequence and a price.
100%.
And also a value to yourself.
Now, one of the things I admire about you, Raj, is that you come across as very likable and very approachable. Is it competence? Is it charisma? Is it just the fact that you're a nice person or that you're humble? What is the secret to, I want, someone watching this, if they want to become approachable or likable generally in their field or just in life, what should they do?
All right. Notwithstanding the adjectives towards the end, which I don't think are valid, I'm not that likable, and even my friends give me a hard time because I can be severe.
You can be a little arrogant sometimes, but generally
yes.
You're a very nice person.
Thank you. I'm direct.
You're direct.
Just like the Dutch. I
cut through the crap.
Yes, I don't cut through fish because I'm vegetarian like yourself. So yeah, I go for the jugular because I haven't got time to sugarcoat. Life is way too short. So, and a lot of people appreciate me because I'm direct. But I'm also willing to listen. So, it depends on the context. I can flip both sides of the, within an hour conversation.
That I can confirm because we've had a lot of great conversations. And
yeah.
You've actually listened to me a lot of the times as well.
Yeah, because I try to understand you. I get you on your wavelength. What is driving you, fears, etc. We all have fears. For God's sake, I have fears. Yeah. But we can't be dominated by them, of course. And it's about facing them, and it's about just walking through portals. Like this is my first podcast. It's weird. I have spoken at huge conferences of my peers, like 400 or 500 people. No problemo. Easy. But this podcast is strange. Now I'm comfortable with it, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I told you once,
Once I stop yapping, it'll be okay.
What does success mean to you?
I need to address the previous question.
Sure.
That threw you. So about charisma. So people who want to be more charismatic, be more functional, be more competent in their life, whether in their work environment, in their personal life, or both, I would suggest. It's about really interacting with people, having people in your life that are going to be brutally honest with you. The person that is going to stay with you and you can value as a friend is the person who's willing to put up with your crap and actually tell you off and give you his honest opinion, which may or may not be valid. The Dutch are very good at this. If they don't like you, they say, "Oh, I don't like you. Done." It's very refreshing because they're not gaslighting you. If they like you, they say, "Oh, you're a cool guy." And they're very straight about this. "Oh, you're a cool guy." No way, if someone said that to me in this country, I would think, "Oh, okay, you're definitely gaslighting me." But in Dutch, they mean it, and it's beautiful. It's a relief you don't have the doublespeak. Direct, and not being afraid to be direct, and not wrapping things up in doublespeak and being polite and overly polite. It's so unnecessary in today's day and age. We have bigger problems. I think learning and communication is key. You have to be eloquent in at least English, and as I say to my students, please learn another language. Spanish, Italian, French, anything, German, just a little bit, because it'll enamor you to the person you're speaking to. That it's just a nice flex. Get used to solving problems manually. Use your brain. Use your mind. It's use it or lose it. But the same thing applies to your brain. It's called neuroplasticity. Okay, so it's use it or lose it. The more you use it, the more the neurons fire, then the more it becomes good at solving things or critically thinking. And critical thinking and common sense are things that are on the wane, and they should be on the rise.
What does success mean to you? What is your definition of success?
Not having a headache? I don't know. I think success is satisfaction. I mean, we all strive to be happy. Now, that's a very difficult thing to do. The pursuit of happiness. It's not the destination, it is the journey. Okay, classic Instagram reel there for you. Success. It's being able to say, I did my best. Whatever that is. Some terrific artists, whether you're a scientist, you want to just try your best.
Or you're building an app.
I'm building an app that will help people because my values is helping people. As a Hindu, we put education next to God. Education is godly. Okay, we put education at the very, very top. And that's why you can see my problem with having an expectant father and the person who he considers I was a complete failure. No.
Yeah, I mean, you probably won't believe it, but, we've been talking for over an hour and 30 minutes now.
Oh, right. I know.
To bring this to an end before Arthur comes walking into the door.
Okay.
One more question. I want to learn about the biggest lesson that you've learned in your life that has helped you come this far. Who was it from? When did you learn it? How has it helped you in your life so far?
Mindset is very nuanced. It has various levels of discipline. And I'm not the most disciplined person, but mindset is to do with real core values. So my core values, I'm going to eat properly. I'm going to do as much gym and movement and just keep myself active as much as possible because, as you get older, It's an escalator that goes downwards and you're standing just to stay healthy. There are a lot of people, including yourself, have given some nuggets of wisdom, like diamonds of wisdom in terms of resilience. And when I pair it with my own values of trying to offer something, trying to build something, trying to be the best I can be, trying to have fun, whatever it is, even when I go out and have fun with my friends, and you don't have fun, you don't sit miserable in the corner with a drink.
Yeah, of course.
Is this person going to talk to me?
Be in the moment, yeah, enjoy it.
In the moment, try and be cool. Not that cool and me have much of a relationship, but...
Yeah. I would say the biggest piece of advice I've ever received was to look at life the way it is rather than the way you want it to be. And I find that quite
liberating. It's liberating, yeah.
I find that quite liberating because life can be spectacularly challenging at times.
Yeah, and we can be overwhelming.
Get in the way, you know.
Yeah, controlling your emotions. You have to be emotional.
Yeah, of course. But, you know, sometimes you have to look at things the way they are. A spade's a spade. You don't look at it any other way. Otherwise, you're going to end up disappointed.
But the thing is, my concluding thought is that aspire. In the name of God, aspire to something. Aspire to greatness. Aspire to be the best. Because my values are, I believe in superlatives. The very, very best. Whether it be the best pastor. Sorry, I talked about pastor a lot. The best pastor. The best exercise in the gym. The best paper written by a scientist in a specific field. The best make of watch, and not necessarily the most expensive. The best technology, the best coding language. And also when you're creating something, go for it. Aspire to higher, because between you and the very, very best, and I've met some of the very best. I've met Nobel Prize winners. I talk to these people, my friends or colleagues. They're there, you're here, go for it. You get one chance of this, just try. And part of that is really educating yourself and really informing yourself and being the very, very best you can be.
Well, Raj, I thank you very much for taking the time to come on the podcast, talk about your journey and share about the nutrition app that you're building. Looking forward to the launch of this app. I hope you don't keep us waiting for too long.
No, the name, I will actually declare something now that I'd like to, the name of the app and the progress of the app, I'm actually going to share on this channel. So people can join the channel to actually find out when the app is going to be launched, what its name is, which is a closely guarded secret at this point. And I'll announce the drop, as you guys call it.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this episode. Head over to the Eagerman's website, sign up to the pop-up you get to become a founding member of this brand, and have a look at the supplement and purchase a bottle for yourself. Once again, thank you very much and have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you, guys.